call the December 15th, 2025 tech meeting to order. Clark Tailing is here. Kevin Randich.
Present.
Gary Foxenrat.
Here.
And
Here.
Eric Toman. Not here. Jason Jordan. Not here. And Rob Wagner is not here. I don't know if all of you had a chance to see the minutes. Aaron sent them out.
Little late.
Little late, but not too bad.
Right?
I watched it online, but I didn't wasn't here. Does anyone have any comments or any changes?
Motion to approve the minutes.
All right.
Second.
You said go ahead. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. And note that Jason is here. Present. Sorry for being late. This is the time in the meeting where we review our goals for the year. I will read our 25-26 goals to use safety as our guiding principle and propose recommendations that are unbiased, transparent, administered fairly. We want to be a valuable partner to the SS4A task force, continue educational programs to introduce complete streets concepts to residents, employers, and city employees, work towards developing a Webster Grove crosswalk guideline to make our streets safer for pedestrians and assist the city with prioritizing improvements along with design and budgeting process. And finally, to improve, clarify, and publicize the communication process between citizens and I don't see any visitors. Do we have any online that want to make a comment?
None that I see, Clark.
All right. So moving right along, this could be a first page, as our next item is for Eric to give us an update on the SS4A task force.
Well, Jean's in here. She could probably fill us in on some of the things they've been on the last meeting. She kind of spearheaded that meeting. So,
all right.
Jean, would you want to fill them in on what they discussed last month on SS4A?
Yeah, sure. I wish I had my notes in front of me, but I'm not at the office. We just talked about the ongoing process of the SS4A, where we were within the process. We have some more information to share at the next meeting about what had happened at the open house that we didn't get covered at the last meeting. We talked about some additional walking audits that we're going to do, one in the North Webster Groves area, one in the South Webster Groves area, to try to get, a representative picture of all the different areas and concerns in the community, knowing that they may be different once people are out kind of walking about. So we'll be reaching out to council, as well as we can talk about whether or not there's anybody in this group that would want to participate in either of those. We had hoped to get it done before the end of the year, but the weather got cold and everybody got busy with holiday programs and giving programs, and so we put it off till spring. Probably we'll see how January and February go and what March looks like, and try to get something on the schedule as soon as we kind of have a longer forecast. Eric, anything else? You can think of?
Did you discuss an anticipated possible the environmental studies? Were you?
So we had a supplement that went to council about a month ago to cover some of the additional work that was needed, not necessarily the NEPA work, but the design work that supports NEPA. So that is ongoing, and we are hoping to have that resubmitted by the end of February, but we're still waiting on some communication back with the consultant. They had a sub that they had to bring on board to do some surveying. So they had to get that under contract before we can kind of that's kind of the critical path to get that done first. So, but we are, we're working on kind of trying to timeline out when we will have demonstration projects out on the street, but that will probably be late spring at the earliest, depending on how things move along. But hoping, that the first thing that'll probably be put out is going to be speed humps because there's not really any design that has to go with those. We have some pre-data collection work and post-data collection work we need to do in conjunction with all of the demonstration projects.
Yeah, I mean, that's more or less what I can recall from the meeting, so.
Oh yeah, it's not just my mind. That's great. Three of us. Woo! Yeah, so we're kind of in the whole SS4A project at kind of a waiting point on a number of different things. We're expecting the draft safety action plan in February. So we meet monthly at a minimum with that team to go over where they are and kind of provide direction and share ideas. So we should have that in mid-February, and then the environmental work. So we're kind of in a working phase, so we don't have a lot of action on our end, so to speak.
Can somebody explain what the safety action plan is going to encompass?
So the safety action plan starts by looking at all of the fatal and disabling injury crashes in the city, and looking at where they are and developing what's called a high injury network. So the roads that have the most fatal and disabling injuries, because that's really where we want to be focusing our attention, is on those so that we can create a safer roadway network for users. But it also looks at contributing circumstances to those crashes, types. So, looks at, are they pedestrians? Are they bicyclists, motorcyclists, other vulnerable road users? What might be some of the other contributing circumstances having to do with behavior, like driving too fast or impairment, red light running, looking at all those different things to look at issues that need to be addressed. So then the consultant takes that data and begins to develop some metrics to measure things, some improvements. So at the end, we're going to get we have the high injury network just defined. It was presented at the open house, I believe. We're going to get a group of a variety of strategies. Some will focus on education, some will focus on enforcement, some might be how we can assist in making emergency response better. Some will be engineering. But what we've learned over years of working on improving, looking at safety, is that a lot of crashes are caused by behavioral things that can change. So working on identifying what those things are and how you can share that information with people, and that we are going to work hand in hand with enforcement, because there's huge differences in crashes at 20 miles an hour versus 30 miles an hour in the potential injury levels. So speeding is one of the things we heard quite a bit Sidewalks was another one. So we are looking at what that could look like. If you want to look at one of our neighboring cities that has a safety action plan in place, Kirkwood has one. I'm trying to think who else. I know there are. I could get you some other ones to look at, but we've looked at some from other cities around the country that our consultant has worked on to kind of see how things were laid out, how the recommendations came out. So there's a lot of different pieces to the puzzle. So we're also looking at, what would, before we wrap up our safety action plan, there's probably going to be a call or what's called a NOFO, a notice of funding opportunity for implementation of actions that come out of the safety action plan. So we are starting to look at what some of those potential recommendations will be and starting to look at information that we have already. Like I know we mentioned crosswalks. I had asked Eric if there was a crosswalk policy, and he said that was one of the things that was this group was tasked with. Well, knowing what that list looks like will go a long way to us looking at, what could we submit for funding for to improve crosswalks. So we're looking at a variety of different things, trying to piece things that have already been done, like the bike and ped plan, and the comprehensive plan, and looking at the pieces of those that are transportation related and safety related.
So that was going to be my next question, but one backup real quick. When you say fatal, I think I know what a fatal accident is, but what's disabling? What qualifies?
Or serious injury, disabling injury means you cannot leave the crash scene on your own.
So it's
You
bodily,
require emergency services.
it's bodily injury, not
Yes.
the
Yes.
car being disabled because.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's the
That's
person.
property damage.
Okay.
There's 4
Yeah.
grades, so property damage would be that, and then minor injury, you can leave the scene on your own, and serious. And I think, sorry, I'm hijacking you, Jean, but
That's
part of
okay.
part of the serious injury, I guess, assumption is that this is a potentially lifelong injury, like something, a broken bone or something. I mean, even a broken bone you live with forever, even though it doesn't affect you forever, but so.
Okay, and then, so I was gonna ask, sort of jumping ahead in our agenda a little bit, because I do want to make sure and be conscious of the fact that I don't want to overlap, some of our goals for the year and with the comprehensive plans goals and with SS4A. So I was going to ask about the crosswalk policy, since we're going to discuss that. Sort of, is that something then that you're waiting on us to develop, or is that something that you guys are working on too? I don't want to overlap.
We are not working on that. It may come out as a recommendation that be developed, but
Okay.
your work has been ongoing before SS4A ever existed. So I would say charge ahead. And if it's one of the recommendations that comes out of the safety action plan, we can say, look, we've already done that.
Okay.
And I'm happy to participate however I can, Eric, to work with whoever's going to develop that, if it's staff or if it's the group or what that looks like.
Okay. Excellent. I appreciate that update. Does anyone have any other questions for Jean at this point? And Jean, remind me what your role is with the SS4A.
Well, it's a variety of different things, but my primary goal is to be a community liaison. But I come from a long background of transportation engineering and safety work. So I'm contributing however I need to make our project and our efforts successful.
Okay. Excellent. And I think one of our other goals is, education. So I think that could work. for both
Absolutely.
you guys.
Thank
All right.
you.
Yeah, thank you. So that moves us into, our agenda item that sort of just to check in on our goals for the year. We're sort of halfway through the year. And thought it would be good to check in. Our first goal is just safety. I think we always use that as a guiding principle. So I don't think we really need to talk about that. I do think we offered and we have a member on the SS4A task force, so I think we do support that. And I just want to make sure that we're not redundantly doing things. So I think keeping the communication avenues open is good. Educational, we had an educational subcommittee that pulled together a nice program last July, I think it was. I would think in the spring, we'll probably check in with SS4A, probably isn't a point to do another one. I don't know if you guys are dormant or if you met
Well, we're
again.
dormant now, but we want to do more.
Right.
Really, sooner is better. There's no reason I think any of us on that committee would wait,
Right, yeah.
except for
So-
budget and reasonable timing.
And was it Jason and you and Aaron?
Mhm.
Was that so I guess what I would say is why don't you, between now and our next meeting, just sort of touch base with each other and maybe at the next meeting, just get a little update about what the rest of the year might look like. Does that sound reasonable?
Any direction, given what everyone experienced from last time. It's been 6 months to think about it.
If I might jump in, this is
Yeah.
getting ahead of things here. I did get today from the city manager, they want this year to separate the budget request from your annual report. They want the budget request sooner, so I think January will likely be all about the budget request. So I'm just gonna suggest the subcommittee might see if there are any funds that you want to have. It might be worth touching base on that, so it can be part of the budget submission.
Okay. Wouldn't you suppose that budget wise, it would be anything we have to do with the partner organization? And then marketing or event.
We kind of
managers.
last time spent FY.
The last
Yeah,
fiscal
so
year.
we're kind of running a year behind. So that's something we probably ought to talk about because we have this year's the money ends June 30. So we spent June 30's money and then had the event in July. So we probably want to get
Spent last June 30's money.
spent last. That's yeah. So I would say we have the full allotment.
Last year.
Still.
So you
Yeah,
still
yeah,
have
for this.
2,500.
Yeah,
2,500 for this year for something between now and June 30th.
Yeah.
to spend before June 30.
Right.
Yeah.
And then with the mayor's, if you guys wanting to do the next fiscal year, that's when we'll make our request in January.
Yeah. So it's almost like a double planning. And then I'm curious, there's a couple along the education line, there's a couple months out there, and months seem to be popular in Webster for leave the
We can
lead,
declare whatever.
all these kinds of things. But there is a pedestrian safety month and there's a cycling safety month, things where we just want to do education in the community. Is that something we need to, so far, if we wanted to talk about that as a group, is that we just have to coordinate with?
So are you talking about, for example, a social media campaign or something like that?
Yeah, or whatever, or articles to the paper to say, hey, don't run over anybody. It's pedestrian safety month.
So a lot of that would go through our public affairs person. And what we're really trying to do is schedule those out. Eric actually has a sheet that he would have to fill out for us to get some time on his calendar, and I'm gonna call him Jared, but his name isn't Jared.
It's Jordan Rose.
It's Jordan, but so far I've never done it to his face. And if you end up watching this, Jordan, I'm sorry, but in my head, his name is Jared. So that's.
I'll be
what-
offended for him. Since
Thank you.
last
Please
week.
do. Somebody needs to call me out on it so my brain adjusts. But if those are coming down the line, one of the things he's really good at is making these videos.
Yeah.
And he
I like
to really
it.
like to do them. Yeah.
As a pedestrian and bike safety, it's getting warmer, people are out. That would be a great
But
awareness.
I mean, they're actual things.
Yeah, there's nationally dead. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll take
So
our own.
maybe when we get together.
Well, and the other
Well-
thing you can also can do is you can request any of those be sort of declared by the council so that we put it on the board outside. Because the city clerk will draft a proclamation, will invite one of you to come accept it, and sometimes the paper cares about that too, so.
There are a number of different things. There is a statewide safety coalition. Their website is savemolives.com, I think. And on there are a lot of the different campaigns that run at different times of the year. Like right now, from Thanksgiving to after New Year's is impaired driving awareness. So there are some that are, bike and ped and related. So we could also look at that to see how it coincides with a bigger effort in the region too.
Yeah, if we look at a year and education throughout that year, if one of our big events is going to be like we did last time, that doesn't mean that these other things that have dates of their own can't be, and then we look for a gap and put ourselves in, or at a place you just like to see it.
Right.
Or, springtime.
Yeah, I would just ask that any of those that you might want a push on recognition of, that we're just giving enough lead time for preparation.
What's enough lead time?
Ideally a month, I'm gonna say.
I mean,
It varies.
I don't know that those initiatives necessarily require funding,
Right.
so.
Right.
Um. We had used TrailNet before. I don't know if you all want to decide.
I would like
Someone
to
else.
make a suggestion of something else we could potentially do. And I'll just be candid. I thought that what we did last time was 3 steps ahead of where we should have been.
But it's not, I mean,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah, I know, and I'm not,
Different.
by no means am I throwing any shade at you guys. I think the disconnect maybe is what TrailNet wanted that meeting to be and what you all were asking for,
well,
very much.
I don't mind that as a committee, we control them,
Yeah.
if
Right.
we recognize we made a mistake.
But one of the things I thought of, so there's this and I'm sharing the screen. This Save Across is a program that was developed by the city of Springfield in Springfield. And I have no idea. It's a really great program. It's been hugely successful. And really what it does is it promotes pedestrian safety in a positive manner, not less with, like kind of negatives, scare tactics, and more just about awareness, and positive, I guess, kind of promotion. So, and one thing they do, there's all kinds of videos and I won't play them, but they have a bunch of, so they've taken this program, it's really successful. It's been, and they've done pre and post studies. It's really, really successful in city of Springfield, but they've actually packaged it up so that other communities can take these resources and implement them. And I have no idea what it costs, if it costs anything, but I'm sure it would cost from the standpoint of, printable materials or anything that we wanted to do. One of the things that they use is this Mr. Walker right here, you can see him. They put this around town and it's just kind of a reminder, and people take pictures with it and they do hashtags and they tweet about it and all of that stuff. We could even buy Mr. Walker if we wanted to be part of this program, but I wanted to throw that out as a possibility. I think it would still definitely need either staff or us, kind of helping kind of figure out what this program could be and guiding it. So there's definitely still an education component, but it would be, I think, more something I think that might reach more into the community other than just people who come to our training, because it's more public facing. So
So we use TrailNet because it was practical, it was in front of us,
Mhm.
right? Is that fair to say? So using something else is fine. It might even be cheaper. I don't know if at first I thought you might be saying have an event and show some of their videos, which is
yeah,
that sounds
what
like
you're
you're
doing
looking for
already.
more. Well, but it still might be better.
Yes. But no, I was thinking that we talk to the city, we could investigate this and hear how it works. So I think you have to sign up to be a host city, is what they call it, or a Safe Across community. And then you launch a program in your community. So, and I don't even know how much cost it is, if any. But I imagine it would be at least something. But I was thinking this is something else we could use our budget for. So we'd have to obviously have the city's kind of permission, but
Well, let's say that the committee does a little research on it.
yeah,
And I don't want to wait for another meeting to share the information. But so at least by email, we can share this.
Well, first, I think you guys should make a motion if that's what you want, and then I guess you should go ahead and, like, is there a something to move forward on it? So like an action item that we could like make a motion on, Bart?
I don't think we need, I think that the subcommittee, the education subcommittee was gonna get together and come back with their
And then at that
recommendation.
time, you'll make some sort
Yeah.
of recommendation.
But I think we also need to form a subcommittee for crosswalks, which sort of this fits
Yeah.
into.
yeah, as well.
It really looks like it. So I think that we need to have two subcommittees, is my thinking. One, we have one already for education. We need to have a crosswalk one. And then come back and report, and then figure out what kind of action we might need to go going forward. I don't think we have enough information to make the motion.
Okay.
Yeah, just a reminder, you can share information via email, but no decision-making
Right.
discussion.
Thank you.
Yep.
So, but that's in line with my,
Yeah.
Read this, don't comment on it. Just, yeah.
So the other thing I'll show you real quick is what Jean mentioned, the Missouri Coalition. It is SaveMoLives.com. And there is a lot of information out there while you guys are kind of doing your research. But
But I mean, these could really work sort of together. I mean, if Safe Across or something
yes,
forms from the crosswalk group and the education group,
right.
I mean, it really could work together.
My thought too is it might allow you guys to control the content more, because, you know, it's kind of a package that
Yeah.
we pick up and do whatever we want with. So
So I've heard two ideas, bicycle safety and then this safe across. I don't know if you want to look into whichever one makes the most sense.
Yeah, I think the months could be kind of a no cost thing. May is cycling, October is pedestrian, so we actually have time to come up with some stuff. And then this thing would, I guess, cost money, and then looking into if we want to do a hired speaker again. I don't know if there's residents in the community who speak on any of these topics. All I can ever think of is the hub, but I know other groups, they have residents that do the speaking as opposed to hiring someone. So we can talk about that too. So if anyone has ideas, names you want to throw out, besides Mr. Walker. Does that
Mr.
sound
Walker.
good?
is it? It's been,
I mean, my favorite crosswalk over here by the block, when you see people going 42 miles an hour, 44 every day.
yeah, and you just.
If you had a
would
Mr. Walker
stand
right there,
for- yeah, like for a few weeks and just kind of use it as a little promotional.
Close to me in my dark clothing.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard him speak about this multiple times. And one of the areas they focused on, which fortunately isn't an issue for us as much, but is the unhoused population and how at risk they are as pedestrians. And so one of the things they did was a big, like, public cert or, made a kind of a big PR, what am I looking for? Social media push and that. Some really good videos they made for that small component. But you can take kind of this program and apply it to small components that fit your city, fit your location. So anyway, I've just been really impressed. And it's so nice that they rolled it out statewide. And it's supported by MoDOT. So to some degree, there's some funding behind it
Yeah.
from the state and the federal.
I just assumed it
funds.
was Springfield, Illinois.
Oh, no, it's Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Missouri.
it's Missouri. That's a good point. I always forget there's two. I do way more with Springfield.
The
Anyway.
advantage of TrailNet, generally speaking, is that they had resources. They had
Yeah.
graphics and
Right.
research and presentation and talking points and things like that. And really, anywhere we can get that, there's no reason, if these organizations are sharing them, there's no reason not to it doesn't have to be TrailNet, but just reusing something
Mhm.
saves a lot of effort.
Yeah, I think we were pressed to get something together.
Don't take
Oh,
this
no,
wrong. I was gonna say,
Yeah.
I think it was really well received too.
Yeah.
I just thought TrailNet was a little ahead of maybe where I thought we were is trying to roll this out to the community. And maybe that's just me.
I'd like to see something that's more absorbed by the community, taken in, that has continuity into the future. Not that that's easy to achieve. You want to do that with lots of things.
Yeah. I feel like, and I think I put these comments in what you guys set out, and I just don't think they didn't have the time or the interest to put that in, but more pictures of what do these things look like? Like, what is the raised crosswalk and what are curb bolts? Like, they referred to them over and over, but there was no good, if you went in the back, you kind of saw a picture, but there was no good, like, this is what this is. And it's small. It's not, overwhelming.
All right. The next goal is the crosswalk policy that we, Chris took a stab and then he quit us. So I think we need to have and I'm really interested in crosswalks, so I'd be happy to be on that subcommittee. To really I'd like to look at cities our size, sort of what best practices might be out there, what exist, as opposed to reinventing the wheel, really seeing what are out there. So is anyone else want to join me, or am I going to be a subcommittee of one? Susan? And okay, great. Well, let's plan on doing our own research, and then maybe we'll have a call or something together and see what we've done. That's all right.
Clark, question on this.
Yes.
Are you looking to create a recommendation for council to implement to the city, or are you looking to create a list of crosswalks that you would like to have upgraded? I'm a little murky on what your intention is with the crosswalk.
Well,
policy.
some of that might get fleshed out with the subcommittee. I don't have an end goal right now.
Okay.
I would like to have guidelines that the city can have. I'd like to see a continual upgrade of our crosswalks. And I'm sort of envisioning that we would have like A, B, and C levels. The A might be the most expensive, which would have, bump outs and the whole bit on there. C might just be paint. But that it would be in the budget each year to upgrade our crosswalks.
I have a side question on that. I don't know if Eric or Sanan can answer. Is there a schedule for repainting crosswalks? Because some of them are very faint, and I didn't know if you had a schedule for that, or people just have to point it out and call Public Works, or
refreshing paint striping on all our roadways. Paint striping is on a yearly schedule, but the crosswalks, especially before the school gets into session, right in the end of July, beginning of August.
So that's an annual
Yes.
thing.
And can we paint on county roads or no?
No.
So Big
County,
Bend,
actually, nobody paints county roads other than the county themselves, so they want to do the striping themselves.
so is there any way we can ever say, hey, this one's been ignored for a while or?
So yeah,
Go ahead. We had a little bit of success going through Lisa Clancy's office a while ago to have repainting done in the Big Bend one right near Frisco. But we have to go through, I mean, I would say right now, it's the elected official you might want to call,
Right.
do that. Go ahead, Eric.
Let's just say exact same thing. You can go on the county, page and make a request. They're usually fairly responsive. To your request, not so much the action of actually fixing the item, that moves at a significantly slower pace, but, I've had this conversation. Anything that we were to implement would be up to the city of Webster Groves to maintain, and quite frankly, that's county's venue, including the sidewalks, and so we really don't have any way to improve those things or add signs. It might be as simple as a parking sign. All that stuff has to go through St. Louis County.
And I guess, Eric, hopefully we'll have a better defined, what our crosswalk policy recommendation would be after we get together and really sort of hash this out. But I have this, that the woman who came in on Grant Court.
Yeah, we talked about that one.
Did we?
So if you carry, do you mind? It's on a curve.
Yep.
And it's just not feasible to put a crosswalk there. It's a mid-block crosswalk. I think it would be dangerous to anyone that was attempting to cross there.
But I guess what I'm saying is that it would be nice to have guidelines that we could go to. I went there and thought if you were driving the speed limit, it was safe. I just drove it. So that's just me. But if we have real guidelines, it's not just saying, well, it's on a curve and,
To an extent, we're not guideline-less, right? Because there's, like, when we looked at Cedar, there was the angle of the road and the distance sight lines and all these things. Like, there are guidelines, right? Broadly speaking, that are safety guidelines.
It was
Right?
Cedar, it was gonna happen. And then some guy came in here and said that you're gonna make it more dangerous with one, and all of a sudden the work stopped.
Okay.
So it wasn't really
I think we agreed with them though, which is why we had it stop.
No,
No?
I mean, I did not.
Okay.
It's right on Big Bend.
Thank you.
Okay,
I was
but
thinking it was further.
There are places where, based on such and such,
There's
you're
one
not going
Grant curve, and they are.
so then we talked about sidewalk, Clark, and then that's a separate thing through the city. But then you're getting an easement and all those sort of issues. And so that was part of the concern is originally some of those areas there's a sidewalk. I did address a complaint on we did about the stop sign. Samantha and I worked together on that one. First sign, we put some signage up for that was for the vehicles on Grant Road stopping for the stop sign because they were standing up there rolling through the stop sign. That's further down, but I don't have a solution for this one. As far as crosswalk goes,
Where is this? Grant and,
Grant Court.
oh, okay, I see it now. Okay.
Yeah, south of Big Bend.
Okay.
Well, what I was getting at is that there are engineering rules to start with, and then there's our desire to say what we want to do, right?
Right.
I mean, we do, at least we're starting from one of those, which I'm not super familiar with, but they exist.
Yeah.
At the Scout Cedar, I thought we all agreed that it was not safe, but if who am I to say?
Yeah, one of the things I'd suggest as you move into looking at crosswalks and developing a policy is to refer back to the bike and ped plan that was developed. Mind you, it's 10 years old, but it is referenced in the comprehensive plan and it has a multi-year phased in sort of implementation of recommendations. So I don't know that, much has been done with that. There are a few things that, like the, there's a sidewalk project coming up that, had been submitted. But, I would just suggest looking at that too, to see what work has already been done. It may be something that needs updating. As far as have things already been accomplished, have they not? But it is a starting point.
Excellent.
So this is 10 years old.
11,
It is-
2014.
Yeah, I think it was implemented or,
It was 2014.
yep.
You all are welcome to take those. It is on the city's website as well.
Mhm.
Okay, but it effectively comes to 5 plan goals, right? I mean, it's not much, it's nothing more than this page. The rest is just graphics.
I think it,
There's more in depth on the website.
and it opens this way.
Thank you.
Carol had mentioned this to us when we did our
Yeah, they did.
meeting.
They did it, yeah.
Yeah,
I think, and that's what they were hoping is that.
Yeah.
That meeting we had, that presentation they did was gonna.
Just sort of an
Pick this
aside,
back
that,
up.
you know, the bike lanes on Lockwood were part of this.
Yeah.
Plan, which were implemented maybe 8 or 9 years after the plan. Of course, blamed on the current administration for taking
I'll
away
take
our.
blame for the bike paths.
Exactly.
Fine by me.
So,
whenever we bring up Grant Road, I like to point out in the early 2000s, no one wanted the sidewalk on Grant Road. The residents there
Did
were,
not want it.
did not want it. They were
Really?
worried people were going to get run over, jumping the curbs, things like that. It was a big deal when that sidewalk went in. And
Wow.
they had to build all the cutouts for the driveways and stuff like that.
so this sort of gets back to our 5th goal then. So have we circled back to her? And close that loop?
What I remember, she was at the meeting, we kind of discussed all this, when she was at the meeting. The original complaint.
So
She
Ken got it.
can't spoke.
We didn't officially respond in any way, right? I think that's.
I mean,
Seemed official.
I can circle back and let her know. I just, she had a couple different requests. One was, more speed signs, one was, crosswalk at Big Ben and Grant, similar to the one down the street in Crestwood. Again, I looked into that. That St. Louis County venue. I did respond back to her, but I can't say with certainty if I talked to her about the crosswalk. But at Grant Court, I'd have to go back and look.
I just remember, I thought that specific request was that coming out of their cul-de-sac. People
Sorry.
walk on the grass down to where the crosswalk is. Because the sidewalk's on the other side of the street.
Yep.
And that crossing there without a slowing down traffic was very dangerous. I know we sort of looked at this, but I don't remember in that meeting coming to a conclusion saying, you know what, I thought we were gonna go take a look at it. And then I don't remember coming to any firm decision. That's why I had it on the parking lot, but
I just looking at it, I wouldn't recommend it across. I would defer to Sedan and Public Works though for like a more engineer-based assessment, but to me, it feels like a dangerous place to put a crosswalk.
We might have also mentioned the sidewalk request policy to the resident at the time. But as a follow-up, we have not received a sidewalk request from that area. It's not that the sidewalk requests are immediately funded and implemented, but the request is the first step to get it started.
Okay,
okay.
it's good to know.
And sidewalk gaps is definitely something we're gonna be looking at, kind of trying to do a prioritized list for potential implementation funds for SS4A. Cause we know it's one of the biggest things we heard at our public open house.
So would this be a candidate for a speed bump?
We don't have a policy on that.
Well, I'm talking to SS4A. I mean, they're reviewing that, right? That's part of the
I
business.
expect to, once S4A is finished.
Yeah, we have already identified the locations for the speed humps in our demonstration projects.
Right.
But I like the mayor just said, I am anticipating a policy for speed humps to come out of or follow the safety action plan.
My concern with speed humps, I know that's the thing of the day that I get a lot of requests for, is there are a lot of unintended consequences with speed humps. And I just want everybody to be aware and educate on like some of the things, like snow plowing, emergency response,
Yeah.
noise your traffic because people are braking and going over speed humps and things like that come along with those. So I think there needs to be a very specific list of criteria when we're talking about implementing these, and for them to be on main thoroughfare roads is a little more dangerous to me than maybe in the neighborhood.
Yeah. And I think, we have to look at, there's the speed bump, there's the speed hump, there's the speed table, which is
And
wider.
I think that's the point, that we have a very comprehensive policy and not pick and choose.
Right.
I've been to communities that have speed humps in them, and they work very well. But again, it's a very comprehensive policy. People are used to it. It's not like one just popping up.
So I talked with the chief of Brentwood, Speece, and Brentwood has a speed hump policy. If anybody's curious, they can go look at that. It's on the city website. And I would look at that as a model potentially. He says it's worked effectively in their town, but there's a very specific list of criteria for it.
Exactly.
And they're actual bumps and they're movable and they're emergency vehicle accessible. So,
Maplewood is also a lot of speed. I don't know if they're humps or bumps, so.
I found some surprise ones on Compton Friday night.
I just think it kind of opened
I
up
couldn't believe that.
Pandora's
box with the amount of requests that we get for them.
Yeah.
well, and we'll never have enough funding for all those crossroads. That's gonna be that.
All right, well, our final goal was just the communication process. I think that's something we can always improve. I think, Eric, you've taken on a lot of that responsibility of communication. So we don't really see that, but I think it happens.
It does.
I just want to say the one you wrote to the lady on Rock Hill, the stop sign was excellent. I read that. I spent a lot of
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
was very thorough.
Thank you.
I forgot to thank Susan for running the meeting in October. It seems so long ago. She did it. She did it so well. I think she's got like chair and aspirations for chair. And she's worthy of being a chair for sure. And she ended that meeting saying we could talk about this parking proposal till the rest of time. So I'm not really going to dwell on it. I had some frustrations with the process, not with any individuals at all throughout this thing. I think it went on so long. And in watching that meeting last time, Carrie had some things she was remembering from a different meeting and this and this, and there was just a lot of stuff. So I was sort of frustrated with the process, and I think we can maybe learn if we do get into this crosswalk policy. I think we can learn from that process to make it a better process. The only thing I'm not really clear on is what the next step is. Does council have to pass a ordinance? No. So you just approve
We approve the policy going forward, so that is then when staff.
So that's a guidelines now for when things come in going forward. Okay.
Which we can apply tonight to 2 requests.
Well, and as an aside, Clark, you all in many ways are sort of the guinea pig. That was the first that I can remember since I was on council, and certainly since I've been mayor. Maybe the sustainability plan falls into this category as well. First time a commission generated a policy that it wanted that we didn't refer to them necessarily. And so I think we were learning, we being council and leadership were learning about that process too. So as you all take some things away, I think have taken some things away as well about you know, it was clear that some council members didn't remember some things that we had talked about in some of the iterations. So we can do a better job from that perspective as well.
I think my biggest one was that this applied uniformly or upon request. And I think our plan that we put forward was very clear that it wasn't to apply uniformly. I think the council had this feeling that we were proposing something that was going to cost 6 figures to the
Right.
city, and well, we don't want to do that. But that wasn't in our plan.
And I think part of that was the lag in time.
Yes, in the different iterations of this stuff.
No, that policy ultimately still has what some people would consider controversial provisions, perhaps. In that so-and-so street over there doesn't like that they're gonna lose whatever rights they used to have and things like that. So the
But
idea
it's
that
not. That's not.
That's never
That's-
stay
They
adopted.
didn't adopt that.
they did not.
No.
So it's new requests moving forward. It's not going back and revisiting retroactively requests that were made by.
Right.
There were given requests that were decided on by this or earlier iterations of this body.
Or any other.
Our recommendation was that they start ground zero.
Yeah.
But that's not what was adopted.
Like the streets by the high school, pretty much.
Right.
They have their special provisions.
And they get to keep them.
So
Partially.
we don't need to beat that dog anymore. But, you know, I appreciated the conversation. I think we can learn from it. I do think if we're gonna have another presentation like that, we should see it beforehand, so we can say, wait a minute, this is a red flag. I think it's a learning process, and I do think going forward, and I don't think we're gonna have a million of these, but we have a good guidelines in place. If somebody says, we think our street shouldn't have parking on both sides, we now can go measure it, see if that's the case, follow the guidelines. And if somebody says, you know what, we're having it like they did on Marshall Place. We have a lot of customers parking on our residential street now. We'd like to have a shared parking situation, and it seems to be working fine there, so.
So that actually brings up the substantive community problem. I'll wait till sometime.
New business.
All right, we're in the new business section. And Eric, the first two are your,
Check.
What's OLA?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ola is the street in Webster.
Okay,
Oh.
it is the street. Okay, I thought there was an acronym.
I did,
Okay.
I was trying to make a reservation there. I thought that'd be a great-
Sounds like a pretty fancy restaurant.
Okay.
So this came about from the captain in the fire department that was on a response, and there was parking on both sides. It's a very small street between
Got it.
two major thoroughfares.
Yeah, I will.
And this, I think, would be a perfect opportunity to apply that new guidelines and make a recommendation.
I'm already dropped down though. I can show it's see how short it is. That's the end of it, and here's the beginning of it. But
So I don't know if it was a particular day, if there was a lot of cars parked on there, but they were saying that they couldn't get through successfully on call. So I don't know, but if, the recommendation would be to measure the street and then determine if it's one-sided, two-sided parking and.
Yes. Just what part of the community is that?
This would be a little more difficult to determine, like,
It's
what
south.
Film right
Yeah,
there.
it's
Like-
south.
towards the middle would be like,
this is a very
or
rough,
would you just do no parking on one side? That's the question.
it's a very rough measurement, but it looks like it's right about just under 24 feet. So, which I'd have to look back at our policy, but I think it was
18 to
I
26.
think it was 18 to 26. That's what I was gonna say. I thought 26. So that would be one parking on one side.
You might zoom in out a little bit so
Sure.
people can see where it is.
So I
Get rid
remember
of the
one
bullet
thing when we
bubble.
were talking about this was who could bring up a parking request. It was
Well, it's-
discussed about resident but I don't know if that was ever defined.
So in this particular case, yeah, there was some confusion for me on that as well. Like, can anybody who doesn't even live on that street make a recommendation to have
That was our original proposal, yes, because
So,
we all pay for all streets.
But in this particular case, it's a public safety concern,
Yeah.
so.
I would be fine. What, I guess I'm putting it into your recommendation, if you would move forward with like a recommendation, and then I can then work with Sanan on no parking, because that would be an ordinance that we would need to create.
Would we follow a petition type of process for this one?
Because it's public safety.
On the street width, if this was what was adopted. I mean, we did say that parking restrictions related to street width may be requested by any resident of Webster. Street width. They're not asking if they wanted shared parking, then they have to get 51% of their.
Right.
Yeah,
So this one would just be no parking on one side of the street.
Yeah.
That's what I would make the recommendation for as well. Which side of the street though? You know, I mean,
I think when we originally discussed this, look at utility, which side of the streets utilities are on, and or which has the most number of driveways, is kind of what we discussed.
Oh, and if it's since the fire department brought it up, if there's a hydrant.
And again, the guidelines said Webster Groves Police or Public Works staff will be responsible for determining street width data.
Hydrant. Oh, that's a cone.
So there's utilities on the, I think that's south side. Now I've forgotten which direction I'm facing.
Now it's east now.
Yeah. But I don't see a hydrant, so
Which way they're most likely.
oh, there's a hydrant across the street. But otherwise I don't see one.
so I don't know, like, again, I don't know. How do you determine which side gets the parking, which side doesn't?
Well, it's a couple different ways. Like I said, there's this one has two driveways and the other side only has one, so you could squeeze in more cars, the fewer driveway side. Yeah,
It
there's
looks like it
only
looks
one
like that,
driveway on this north side.
that looks like the back of someone's house as opposed to the front on the other
Yeah, the
side.
two corners look like they face Elm rather than.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Invariably, you'll probably make one side of the street, that's very happy.
I think
So you need to be systematic on how you make the recommendation, I think.
I would sort of think that you would look at the distance of parkable feet,
mhm.
and the one that would have more parkable feet is the side you would choose, but.
We have to put it in
Side
writing,
with fewer-
so we don't have to.
fewer-
Well, we don't have- we don't- we're-
I thought this part was left up to Public Works
Yes,
to
yeah, it
to
is.
make a determination based on information about the actual. Yeah. Yeah, we don't need to get this granular about that, I think.
No.
My concern is like moving forward, when we work with situations like that we have a consistent approach, so we're not,
Yes.
but I'll work with Sonoma and trying to figure out.
But each street might have some like if
Yeah.
there's a hydrant there,
Or
or
if
if
there's a
there's
sidewalk,
a sidewalk.
that would make a big difference. So I think each street's gonna have its own set of circumstances. If there's a crosswalk on one side or the other.
Hola.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Do we need, what do we need?
Oh, do we need to make a motion?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Okay.
It's a policy.
So one-sided parking on all is what everybody agrees to, so that's, I'll move it forward from here.
I don't know if you need to field verify the width, but
That's.
because if it was
Yeah.
27 feet,
Yeah, I think, it was pretty close to 24.
Right.
This does a pretty close job. There are plans for South Elm too, so I don't know if that impacts which side you want to put it on either, but
The
yeah,
planned multi-use path is on the west side there.
it's gonna be on the west,
West
okay. But there's no sidewalk over there.
all right, number 2, Eric.
Fair Oaks is on that.
What's the issue there?
I don't know if there's anything really for the committee to change on this. I just brought it to the attention. I told the person that was complaining that I would discuss it with you.
Within what?
Fair Oaks.
Fair Oaks, and the complaint is, business, it's a permit parking and businesses are parking in a no parking zone, which is already marked, making it hard for them to turn off of Fair Oaks onto Summit.
Should we go south?
So one of the things that,
You're going south almost so away. Keep going.
Oh, I was just headed north.
It's
Go
behind
So
Cerritos.
south. Okay.
Yeah, right near Shannon.
No.
There's as I understand it, because I've now corresponded with the individual several times. There is a no parking sign that exists. People are sometimes disobeying the no parking sign. And going ahead and parking, which means the sight lines are hard coming in and out of there.
So on the street level, it's marked no parking, but people will ignore the signs, and a lot of them are for the business park and the business that don't want to pay for the permit parking, which I also brought up in the business commission meeting.
Yeah, there's the.
But you mean employees of the businesses?
Employees of the business are parking there, and the response was, well,
I think you were speeding.
I think it was.
it's cheaper to pay the ticket than pay for the permit. So that's kind of the issue we have.
Raise the price of tickets.
Well, that's on the.
Is
book.
that
It's on the east side of the street, flanking Fair Oaks. It's on the same side of the street as Fair Oaks.
Okay. Oh, so the parking problem is on Summit, not on Fair Oaks?
On
Yes.
Summit,
Okay.
from Fair Oaks to the south on that piece,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, right there.
Right there.
Parks right now.
No,
Not over
fine.
there,
Don't go over there.
No.
not on that side, the other side.
This side.
Yeah.
Northbound, I mean,
Yes.
yeah.
So, and it's people who work in the Cerritos.
That's a presumption. Sometimes I assume it might just be people who are legally parking.
Oh.
We've done traffic details and enforced it. I don't believe that there's anything that this committee can make a recommendation on. I think we-
No parking on the northbound side though? I don't see a sign.
There's no parking signs there.
There is a sign there.
Okay.
It's the other way.
Okay,
Where can they park?
Somebody's blurred out their address, so.
so
Where can employees park or supposed to?
there's, I think.
It's
with
right-
parking,
Carrie, it's between those two cars.
There it is. Okay, thank
The
you.
Rogers Produce Place or?
I
No,
I
there's,
said
so.
I had
there's-
suggested. Oh, so sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna answer a question, Gene, then I'll let you talk about this. Along Lockwood is permitted parking on both sides of the street. No, sorry, on the south side of the street. There are other places throughout the business district that are permitted parking that businesses can buy from, and there are spaces available, because some of the spaces are at Bompard even. So it's not a question of not being able to buy a permitted parking space if you're an employee or a business owner at this point.
So here is somebody parked right there right now in this,
correct.
Right.
interesting.
And when Cyrano's is really crowded, people do park all along
Yep.
Summit here.
That lot has a lot of limited parking.
Yes.
That causes issues.
Yes.
I would think that the permanent parking would be violated all the time too by citizens who just want to park. Does that happen?
Only during.
I think the reason that they care more about this is that the sightlines are the
Yeah.
problem. It's considered safety rather than a nuisance of somebody parking in the already permitted spaces.
I'm gonna apologize in advance for asking this question out loud, Sanan, but what about painting the curb?
Oh, that was my thought.
Yeah, that's perfectly okay.
I mean, I know that's just maintenance, but it's also that visual reminder.
It sounds like though this is repeat offenders that have found out it's cheaper to get a
Oh,
ticket
yeah.
than to pay for a permit. And so I don't think there's anything we
The
can.
psychological difference is probably significant.
It is.
What about
It's
instead
bright
of
orange.
just painting the curb, painting a bubble?
Yeah, how wide is the street?
We're no parking here to corner,
Yeah.
like at the top of our street. That was very effective. because the sideline was terrible and people do pretty much heed that, or someone will call the police if they don't. It's pretty,
And I think what Gene suggested is what we were just seeing a minute ago on Elm, which is where they striped out like the parking lanes.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Where you could actually like put a white stripe here where the parking should be, but then hash it out or do something to show that you can't park there. Yeah, this is 37 feet. Let me see if I can.
And I just a thought that, you know, they may come up with and ask if there's no other solution. Well, what about putting a stop sign for northbound Summit? I'm just saying, you know, it may come up.
Yeah, I think their ask is for paint.
Yeah. Rather
Yeah.
than paint, could we do those plastic stand things that you physically cannot park there?
Delineators.
Just
Not
with-
during snow. Probably not during the winter.
We don't really use those anywhere, do we, Sana?
Not currently.
Mm.
And clearly it's an enforcement issue,
Yeah.
So
which we are focusing on. But, also I think Sana and I had talked about painting the curb, but there's also weather issues with, you have to wait for the right temperature.
Yeah.
in order to
Yeah,
do so.
So here's what I think the other thing she was talking about, where this is kind of painted out, but you would just put the hatching all the way through, which is another idea.
That is kind
Okay,
of, white versus yellow.
I think you, use white on the street,
What?
yellow on the curb.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and number 3, new business, just a question for you, Eric.
Mhm.
I was in an accident last week, which could have been deadly if I was on a bike. I was coming down Big Bend, westbound, by DD Mao, where Weber's is.
The new DD map.
Yeah. And I was going, westbound. There was a car to my left that decided to pull into the DD Mao parking lot into me. I mean, if I was a bike, I would have been run over and could have been serious injury. Car got banged up. She didn't see me, she said. She said first she said my GPS stopped working. Then she said that little light on my mirror didn't flash that there was anyone there. And I said, well, you're supposed to look.
Still supposed to look, yeah.
And she thought the DD Mao parking lot was a road. She wasn't from here, she was from Illinois. But my question is, the officer came, he was really nice. And but he gave us 2 options. He said, one is I don't know what it was called, but it was like, it wasn't a police report, but it was a noting that you exchanged information. 2 was, and that was immediate. 2 was, if you want to do a police report with the details, it was going to take 2 or 3 weeks. And I had been hit before, and my insurance company really lambasted me, said, because the guy's story changed.
Yeah.
And he said, why didn't you get a police report? So I told her, I said, it's not that I'm not trusting you, but but my question is, if we had just gone the route of exchanging information, would there be a record of that being a dangerous intersection? So my question is, if that happened, so like the question on Rock Hill, when the people at Baker and Rock Hill were saying, we see accidents here every day. And then we look at our crash data and it says, well, we've only had 2 or 3 accidents there over a 5-year period. Or is it really being collected is my question.
Most of that data is reported through accidents reports, so that's what we get our data. If it's typically an informational exchange would be a minor accident in which there isn't much damage. You're talking probably less than 500, which in today's car repairs is maybe a scratch.
Yeah.
So, I would always advocate for you to get a police report in a situation where you're in an accident because of the cost of the damage and because of the
Right.
facts that you just stated. Typically, when you're talking about an intersection where there's a high volume of accidents, those would be of a nature which the damage was enough that it would be a significant repairs, and that kind of dictates the action of the reports. That's why that data I would argue is probably a little more accurate than, because most people were going to want this report for their insurance claims.
Right, okay. I was just curious about that, I didn't know there were two options. And I mean, the officer was great. I mean, he wasn't pushing me one way or the other, but she obviously just wanted the information exchange to get out of there.
Yeah, it's always easier for an exchange because, you know, it's not really a criminal incident. It's more of a documentation issue for insurance companies. So, if the two parties have insurance and they've verified that and they just want to handle the matter between insurance companies, they can do so. But as you said, sometimes stories change and people say one thing to you and a different thing to their insurance company.
Right. Exactly, okay. Interesting. I'm glad I was not on the bike.
Yeah.
So can I add new business here?
Yeah, sure.
So the parking lot at DD Mound seems ridiculously teeny. It seems like it's surprised that they got their permit given the parking lot. I'm not complaining, fine. I love DD Mound. I'm glad they're there. But it does seem like it's not going to be easy for the city to deal with. There's going to be, I mean, people are circling it. They're
Right.
coming in and out because they can't park. And that just seems like a problem.
Yeah,
I know that Telva, a lot of good solutions came up with some. Again, it's not a complaint, but gosh, surely we're going to talk about it again.
It's actually not a new problem. Before the
Whatever.
restaurant was there, had
Yeah.
this, it's existed as long as there's been a restaurant in that storefront.
the difference is it's new customers
Yeah,
that
sure.
don't know the circulation
Sure.
because it's unbelievable. You know,
Yeah.
the Weber's people always knew what to do.
Well, there'll be a learning curve,
Right.
obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is a very I mean, and again, it's Big Bend, so I don't know what we don't really have much to say, but it's a very people don't understand there's a light there if you're coming out. You know, and then if somebody's coming, is that Garden or whatever that is, Orchard? They're coming that way. I mean, it's a very dangerous,
Well, and Sanaa, am I right that that's the place the county is the Old Orchard Avenue? That is a really long pedestrian crossing. Isn't that part of the Big Bend project, is to make that smaller?
Yes,
So the shape of that intersection is going to change a little bit.
yes.
Well, and again, I'm not mentioning it just to complain of what it is, but are people allowed to park west of there between there and Cyrano's? I think
no, that's
the park in that
I
lot.
thought it was
back
actually a
there.
parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, park behind though, isn't?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's where you have to go.
That's like back here,
Yeah.
yeah.
Then there's another lot even behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is another problem we have in Webster is that people don't want to walk more than
Yeah.
16 steps to the door of where they need to go.
But back behind Cyrano's and behind Rogers, back in there, all the businesses have signs, no
Mhm.
parking.
Yeah.
I mean, there's actually plenty, Rob, there's plenty of parking there, but if you go into that lot, it's very tight. I got
Yeah.
nailed in that lot once because on that corner thing.
You can see how tight it is.
I took my camper van in there.
Oh,
I was like, that was a mistake. And unfortunately, it was super busy. It was like people kept coming in, and then there was no way for anybody to get out anymore.
Well, the good news is you could just camp in your
It was,
vehicle.
Stay there.
But if there's someone coming, north on Orchard taking a left and somebody coming out of that lot and that light turns green.
and I don't know if we've heard anything, but the one difference between Weber's is that it's going to be a carry-out business. Where Weber's was
That's a good point.
have wings. So
Wait, what's gonna be a carryout?
DD Wow.
You know, they have a lot more seating in there than Weber's.
yeah, but it's just the nature. It's
Oh, you mean more traffic
Yeah.
coming,
Yeah.
coming and going?
Yeah.
like how Dewey's is up here and how they kind of did the parking spots along the street so
Yeah.
you could run in. So I don't know, but I haven't been over there yet. Looking forward to it.
And they can't really do that because they're in the middle of an intersection.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Well, there's a lot
Yeah.
of turning in and out and then getting
Yeah.
to Starbucks and
Yeah.
people are trying.
That
to
intersection is
get down.
controlled by a light though, right?
yeah.
It is, but it's,
Yeah.
again, you see that car that's turning left up Orchard?
Wait, are you talking about this one?
No,
That's gray.
No,
Old Orchard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The almost invisible car.
Yeah.
and then there's one going to, I mean, so if somebody's coming out of that parking lot and that car's turning left and they're going right, it's just an awkward, because it's not right angles.
Oh, and in the middle, it's striped in the middle.
Yeah.
They're all worn off right now, but and the people who pull in are gonna leave turning right, which is the opposite direction. I mean, it's just
It's bad, and that's where I was nailed. Right there.
so if someday there's a cooperative something or communications to people or anything, it just seems like it's gonna help us. Like I keep thinking of Telva, how by cooperating people did something good. I don't see what it can be, but something.
So none and Mayor, did you say that the county is getting ready to do some work through here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
And,
we granted them some right of way recently.
okay. And are you making a request again to get more higher visible crosswalks? Or
let me
can the
check.
city make that request? I'm looking at these crosswalks thinking, wouldn't it be nice if they were higher visibility for
Yeah.
people? Just,
Yeah.
that also tells a driver, hey, you can park somewhere else and walk, because there's a path.
Well, another problem in the area is Nerex, because when they get out, it's a total.
Their
mess.
traffic flow goes right through Old
Yes.
Orchard there.
Yes.
Yeah, like they see how much, when I say high vis too, by the way, this is what I mean. It's so much more visible
Yeah.
than the two white lines.
Okay. Mayor Arnold.
My turn, huh? Okay. As you probably have read, there are two proposals on the city council agenda about sales tax initiatives to go for the April ballot. One is a fire services sales tax. That would be essentially 25 cents for every $100 spent. The second is an economic development sales tax, which is about 50 cents per $100 spent. Fire services is pretty easy to explain because it's all about fire services. Economic development sales tax is a little more wide ranging in terms of what you can do. The example that comes up most frequently is, speaking of parking, the garage, we have learned in Old Webster, is going to require about $1.5 million in repairs. Economic development sales tax can be used for that. It can be used for any kind of infrastructure within the business districts. It can be used for stormwater management within the business districts, as well as things like business marketing and some administrative costs that deal with economic development. Those are capped at 25%. So those are the two. We will likely vote tomorrow night. We have one more opportunity, one more meeting where we could vote before we reach our deadline to send things to the ballot. You have time, by the way, if you have a strong feeling on either one of these, pro or con, email tonight or tomorrow, and council members will get it before the meeting tomorrow. And so that's kind of the biggest issue we're dealing with. You may also have heard that filing for elections is open. It will close December 30th. We have one incumbent council member running for reelection, and then two who are unlikely to run for reelection. But we do have 3 applicants for not applicants. 3 people have filed their paperwork to run for city council. I have filed paperwork to run for another term. So far, no one else has. We'll see how that goes. You have time, so you can do that. And then the last thing I will say is a very nice interaction with Allison Breyer, who is one of the history teachers, social science teachers at Webster Groves High School. It was her students who initially proposed the stop sign at Selma and Bradford. Is that what it is? And they were notified that that got passed and were incredibly happy. So they have all now received a copy of the ordinance with a note from me thanking them for their help in that process. So they apparently are all thrilled and realize that maybe they can do something in life that matters in their little community. So
It's funny too, because I drive that every day and I about 50% of the time still forget that it's not, that it's there.
You know, I
Which is
would,
the perfect example
And
of how
you of all
hard it is.
people.
I know. The perfect example of how hard it is to retrain drivers.
so that came in as a fix it form request, and I took that one directly to council because of the safety issue concern. I wish I would have loved to know that it was from because it just, I even reached out to the SRO and asked them if that was a Webster address for the initial complaint. It was
So-
not, so.
yeah, so the reason, so a couple of different ways, but the reason I know it originated from the students is because they did these public engagement projects, and then I went to be on a panel to help evaluate them, and that was one of them that was presented last spring. So who knows what they'll present this spring?
Something more ambitious.
Oh, actually, that reminds me, one other thing, if you don't mind.
No,
Clark.
no, you got the floor.
We will.
It's campaign season.
I do not campaign in board and commission meetings. You'll hear from me in other ways. But council approved a mayor's youth advisory board. We will start promoting that in January with applications in February. So rising juniors and seniors are eligible for applications. And they will be able to get them through their high schools, and they are at both Webster Groves High School, and then people who live in Webster who go to other high schools are eligible. So we'll start meeting in April of this year. And on that note, you may get a liaison from the Youth Advisory Commission, because every member of the Youth Advisory Board, it will be required to sit on some board or commission.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, I am finished now.
Well, along the Webster High School, if you like high school basketball, they're really good. They are really good. They're defending state champions, and they're fun to watch. They're this weekend.
What's the 40 points?
But I saw the 36.
Oh, okay.
I was busy Thursday and Friday, so I missed Saturday or Friday. Eric.
Sure.
Our next meeting, we've moved to January 12th because of Martin Luther King Day.
Whatever date it was scheduled for it was just wrong in the calendar, but the schedule was right. It wasn't on,
No, it wasn't on the 19th, but we moved it to the 12th.
Yeah, it was,
it was always the
Yeah.
12th originally.
it just got put in the calendar.
Just gotta put the calendar on.
Oh, okay, but the following February is on President's Day. So is that a holiday for you guys?
Yeah, those were both addressed when the schedule was done. I think it just, when they added when they added the schedule to the city's calendar, they probably did like you can go every whatever
So when's the February meeting?
would
It's
be,
moved
I
back.
believe
I
it's
moved
the
it back.
23rd.
23rd.
23rd?
Because I went through and looked at all the holidays, but I'm not the one entering it anymore.
Right.
So I went through to make sure that all the holidays were.
So February is the 23rd.
And I will not be joining you in January. It's my 35th wedding anniversary.
Oh,
That's amazing.
Hope you make it.
Yeah, I hope I make it to that point too.
Excellent.
I will miss January too, and I'm trying to figure out how to decline this, but since I accepted the entire series.
You can go through and alter your request and.
Plus, if we'll have to have whoever does the calendar updated, so you'll get an updated request from me.
Okay. I was gonna say, I don't think it's letting me do that.
I know I won't be here.
We
Oh,
might have tomorrow.
yeah, we'll find out. All
I'll be
right,
celebrating the Arnold's anniversary.
anybody have anything? Very good.
That's good.
I'm being filmed.
Motion to celebrate Arnold.
This is gonna be really big news to my husband, David Kimball's.
Yeah,
Taylor Arnold.
yeah, that's right.
We just had our first.
I know you two are,
First.
we'll never catch you.
Great adjourned.
Clark,
in the future, I would like to go over this because I don't understand how far it got, why it didn't go further and things like that. I don't want to ask us to do that now, but I am intrigued.
So I'm gonna suggest that that's gonna be really hard because if you look at the roster of council members and the roster of staff who are
Okay.
involved in that.
Yes.
No one's here.
Well, the one
Yeah.
big question I have is that it says $860,000 in potential investments. Was any of it done? Not done? There are all these routes. Were they done? Were they not done? I understand that people are gone,
Yeah.
but we might be able to say, well, yeah, we can see those routes aren't here, or those routes are here,
Yeah.
or if it's an
I was
asset,
more reacting to the why as opposed to the.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But if
I
we
would
look,
look at it more of a,
Those are
as a, there's things in here that we should help to push forward.
yes, but what was done, what was not done, you know, like, how can we use this as an asset instead of it just being some paper that,
I think the only thing that was done was the bike-
St. Louis County.
Same with the counties.
Oh, St. Louis County.
was the bike lanes
It
from
looks like St. Louis.
Edgar Road to Baumgart and Lockwood.
Mhm.
And it was pink.
well, do we want to go forward with anything here? Are these good ideas or not? So those are things I'd like for us to discuss. I'm not trying to,
Yeah, and I think TrailNet would be the first to say that's 11, there's a lot of new data and a lot of new practices. So we did look at having them update this.
but we have to pay them to do so.
Yeah. And it was not gonna be a cheap thing.
So not $2,500?
No.
Wait,
So, yeah, you know, much of what they would do and
lot of
updating it
community-
was gonna come through Safe Streets for All anyway,
Yeah.
in
Right.
the planning there.
So is this an asset of use or not?
I think it's an
It sounds like-
idea. I think it's good for ideas.
Look for reference.
Yeah, I mean,
It would certainly make a grant application for other funding stronger.
Which is going through all these processes already. anyway. Okay, thank you.
yeah, that's a good point. To go after funding, you need to have some sort of plan to point to. So,
We're accumulating plans, you know. Just a little.
you're not.
all right, do I have a motion
No, I-
motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
Or you guys just gonna hang out together?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, aye? Beautiful, thank you, guys.